Hello, friends. Everyone needs attention. And that can be either great or really negative, depending on your attention profile, like where you learned what attention getting was, how you got attention, whether or not it was healthy, whether it was competitive. The truth is, we all need attention. And the truth is, many of us did not get healthy ways of bidding for attention, and nor do we accept bids for attention. Today, that's what we're talking about. I'm Ann Ferguson, and this is Leaning In with Ann. This is a live walk and talk I do every Monday through Thursday. I'm an author, I am a friend, I am a wife and a mother, I am a sister. Oh, I am somebody trying to figure things out in life. And I'm an external processor. We talked about that last week. And so this is really helpful to me to just talk out loud, sort through some stuff. Today's topic comes from a conversation that I had with somebody who's taking the Igniting Your Belief class just yesterday. So I thought, you know what? She's probably not the only one. Let's talk about this. So welcome. We're going to talk and sort out bids for attention. How to do it healthily, how to set the boundaries when it's kind of be taken advantage of, and all things about attention. So welcome. So I got on this call with one of the mentees that's in the Igniting Your Belief program. And actually, I didn't get a call, I got a text. I have a secret code. For those who are in my classes, they get a secret code. And when they send a text with a secret code, it's like SOS, I need you. That's how I do personal mentoring, so that it's in the moment instead of we're not in class today, or your appointment's not yet. I can talk to you like a friend while I'm cooking my breakfast. This is what we did yesterday. And the problem that was going on is kind of numb and feeling really depleted. When I asked her, she says, I'm just so tired. I'm so tired. And I said, yeah, it sounds like it. So we talked about giving and receiving, because what I heard is I totally heard her depletion. And that she had been giving and giving and giving to this family, like so many of us moms do. And she had teenage children left in the home. And she's kind of like unseen as a woman, like who has needs and, a life of her own. Instead, it's just the costume that's operating mom. Who's the character that's inside that costume? And so she's feeling pretty depleted. And so we talked about giving and receiving for a second. Giving is what we've all learned how to do. Give of yourself, give of your time, your energy, your talents, all things that the Lord has blessed you with. Give, 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 give. Now, you know what would be a perfect world? A perfect world would be, I give and I give and I give, and you reciprocate. And you give and you give and you give. And we just have this beautiful exchange of giving and giving. Like, that'd be so fascinating and awesome, right? And it doesn't mean that this is only for those of you who have kids. This is all sorts of giving. She says, I feel like I'm failing everybody and everything because I can't even get out of bed anymore. I don't even want to get out of bed. And it crossed my mind, those bids for attention. I wonder how much she's bidding for attention from herself and denying it because she has to give to everybody else. It's a pretty big deal, right? So I want to go back into your profile just a minute, back into your history, because it's really important sometimes, and I'm going to say sometimes, not all the time, but to look at the past and make sense of where all this is coming from. So let's go into your past for a minute. Bids for attention. As little children, it's natural. Like from the moment that first breath is taken, what is all this space, this air, like sensations that you have never had because you've been encapsulated in warmth in liquid, and for the first time air touches your body and your skin, and there are sensations. There are noises that you've never heard in a totally new way. There are lights, like what is that even? Like, can you imagine all the sensory input that comes into an infant the moment that they're born? And so, what is this? And that's a bid for attention. And they're wrapped up tight, and they're snuggled in and taken care of. And the bids for attention continue. It's like, I'm hungry, I'm uncomfortable, bids for attention. And caregivers, if they're great, respond. Have you guys heard of those studies about Russian orphanages where they didn't touch the babies at all, and those babies died because there wasn't physical touch? That the attention, this is something I really want you to hear about yourself. That the bids for attention, physically, the food, changing, all of that, your physical needs are not enough to be taken care of for you to thrive. That physical touch, that comforting, that wrapping a baby up and touch is the emotional side. So we tend to think that as adults, we can do without emotional support because all we need to do, you're feeding yourself and you're sleeping sort of, and the physical needs are taken care of, but the emotional needs, what about those? They are just as vital to life itself as the physical needs are. Okay, let's go a step further into your childhood. When you bid for attention, when you needed something or connection, we're talking, let's go into your 7, 8, 9, 10s. How did that go down? When you needed attention from an adult parental unit, did you go and say, hey, I need attention? And they say, come here, come here, come here. Let's get on my lap. What do you need, sweetheart? Did you have someone that would readily and easily meet your needs emotionally for connection? You're bidding for attention. Or was it, hey, honey, I'm busy right now. Just a minute. No, you can't. Okay, stop. Go play with your sister. I'll be with you in a minute. This is not something you need. You're a big girl. Go. I have said that so many times to my own kids. Go, 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 go. So I learned from my own parents who did that to me that I was kind of on my own. Bids for attention weren't really there. However, you need to go and take care of this. You need to go do that. Will you stop doing this? Why won't you listen to me? You are not a good listener. In other words, the parent is bidding for attention, and the child is saying, take care of yourself. I'm good. You're good. You're the adult. Go do it. I don't want to. How many times as adults we're like, look, I don't have time for this. You need to go take care of it. Can you imagine a kid actually in an adult voice as a 7, 8-year-old is going, I actually don't have time for this. Like, I'm so busy being a kid and playing and growing that, what you need, that's an adult thing. You just go take care of it. Woo. So what we learn is my needs need to be put on the back shelf in order to be a good listener and obedient and take care of somebody else's bid for attention. Have you ever thought about bid for attention this way? Now, with that being said, I totally understand that you cannot be at the beck and call of a child 24/7. Like, you cannot be, but the bid for attention. Hey, come here, let me hear you. Okay, let's make an agreement. Right in this very moment, I can't. I so want to take care of this. Can you give me a few minutes? And then that commitment is upheld. That would be different for bids of attention from us, right? Okay, what about this? What about now we're into our teens and we find out that we actually have a needy parent and they are busy adulting, providing for you, so you need to be grateful for what they're doing for you, but don't be a burden to them at all. Take care of things yourself because they're busy taking care of you. However, let's look at your bids for attention as a child. Okay, I had a parent who the bids for attention was drama pour me. Like devastation, depression, everything was woe is me. And somehow as a kid, I was supposed to make that better. And as a teenager and as a young adult, I was somehow responsible for his bids of attention. But, hey, I need robes for graduation. Oh my gosh, it was like I cut off his left arm. Man, it could have been that the money had been tight. We all as parents experience that. Okay, when do you need it? Okay, so this is what's possible. Let's talk to the school and see if there's anything we can do. Or, okay, well that means that we can't do this so that we can have money for that. How do you feel about it? That is a healthy exchange, not what I received. Okay, we're going to take this into adulting now. I learned from my parents that for me to be a good listener, I had to do everything that they expected. So if I did everything that they expected from me, I had been a good listener. In other words, I had, there was attention given to detail to what they wanted. You know what the problem was? ADD. Yep. This girl didn't follow directions very well because I couldn't hold that many directions in my head at one time. I didn't know I was ADD. I'm not hyper. And it presents in girls different than boys. So I learned that to prove that you have listened and heard me, you must do things exactly as I said. And I was told how I didn't do that. Well, guess what? As an adult, I then did that to others. This is what I told you to do. Why didn't you even do that? So I had all this evidence that I bid for attention and nobody hears me. This is why this is dangerous. Because if it's not exactly as I expect, I am not receiving when people are giving me attention. I must say that one more time. When you expect attention to come a certain way, and that's what you hold to as evidence, then when people give you attention in other ways, you don't see it. What about inappropriate attention? Yeah, I just want you to think about that one. I'm not going to go there. But there is inappropriate attention given, and you're responsible for my attention. So I was thinking about this profile. There are people who bid for attention healthily, like, hey, I need some time with you. There are people who create drama because, if it's dramatic and you're in crisis, like you're such a bad person if you don't answer my need and my bid for attention. There is the blaming bid for attention, and then there is the loving bid for attention that we don't see. All right. Whew. So back to the mentee. We talked about receiving, and it's like a foreign concept. Like I'm supposed to give and give and give. So receiving is really hard because it feels selfish, because you were told that if you do what you need to do and don't take care of others first, that's called selfish. And so receiving from somebody else, when you haven't taken care of everybody else's things, you go, no, I don't deserve that. I haven't taken care of everybody. I don't receive until what? Till I've accomplished my chores, till I've eaten all my food, I get my dessert, till I've studied and gotten the good grades and I get the reward. It's all the after stuff. I'm not deserving yet of attention. Unless I am sick, there's your crisis. So we talked about the idea of receiving, kind of foreign to her. She talked about how she's seeing it. So her husband would come home, and if the dishes are kind of all over the place, he will just do them. And I said, so what about that? She goes, I don't know. I go, how do you feel? She goes, I feel bad. I feel like I should have been doing that. I should have gotten this taken care of. And I failed him and I didn't. I went, wow. Okay, so is he irritated, upset, frustrated, angry when he's doing dishes? She goes, no. Okay. She says, but there are these things that she wanted done. So I asked the question. I want you to answer this yourselves. The question is, what is the opposite of giving? Now, right now, because we're talking about receiving, you're going to say receive. But when I was asked that question, taking was the answer. I did not want to take. I didn't want to be a taker. I've had takers in my life. The guilt, the responsibility, the blame, in order to get my attention was real. And they took my energy and my resources and the things they were takers. I wasn't going to be a taker. Absolutely not. No taking. I was going to be, a giver. Giving. And then the coach I was working with said, what's another opposite? What's another opposite? I said, receiving, I guess. He says, what's the difference? That's the question I want you to answer. What is the difference for you between taking, being a taker, and being a receiver? Receiving. Taking and receiving. What's the difference? So in this woman, she said, taking is when all of the expectations have to be met. I said, wow. So there's strings attached to taking. She says, yeah. And then as we explored deeper, we realized that her husband's not doing exactly how she wants things to look. And so she's not receiving, because guess what he did? He came home with flowers and she barely acknowledged him. In fact, she kind of rejects him. She goes, why did you do this? Ooh, he was bidding for attention. Not in a gross way. He just said, hey, I'm bidding. I want you to know you're special. And I'd love to receive the fact that you're aware that you're special to me. And she's like, why did you do this? And he goes, it was only like $3. They were pretty. I want to give them to you. She did not receive those flowers or the dishes being done on a regular basis because of guilt that she hasn't met everybody's needs and everybody in her space isn't perfect, wonderful, happy, and safe. See, if everybody's not perfect, wonderful, happy, and safe, we haven't earned the right to receive any gifts, any blessings, anything. That is a lie and jacked up. I want you to hear, we have a bully. There is an enemy. It's a common enemy. There is a God who is trying to bless you and give you everything you need, you desire, and you would love. And as Uchtdorf, he's a thought leader, a religious thought leader, he said that we're holding up umbrellas. And there's blessings that God's trying to pour down on our heads. And we are not what? Receiving. We're not receiving it. So here's my own experience with this. My husband Tom travels all the time. He had been gone for several weeks. He came home, it was kind of midweek, and no kids. I had cleared my schedule because in my mind, what meant connection to me that day was I wanted to sit down and watch chick flicks together. I wanted to feel all loving and all the stuff and have him feel like the hero, and we were going to watch a movie that would generate emotion for us, and I wanted to just sit and chick flick with him. And we got up in the morning. I think I said something about it. I may not have. That's another thing. Bidding for attention in our minds is not the same as letting people know you want something. Unless you go, oh, and you walk away, that is not communication. That is the baby going, I'm uncomfortable. I'm bidding for your attention. The sigh, the slam the door. That's not communication. That is bidding for attention. It is. So I don't remember if I communicated or not, to be honest. But he got up, got some food, and went outside. And I went, oh, that's okay. We have all afternoon. The kids are in school. We can just sit. We can watch chick flicks, maybe around 10, maybe 11. It's going to be great. And then he was outside. And he was outside. And he didn't even come in and seek to find me. I'm the princess. And he'd been gone from me for weeks. So the bully, that common enemy who's not actually after our good, our comfort, our feeling secure and safe, but all the other stuff, started telling me all sorts of lies. He doesn't really want you anymore. He's gone so much. He's learned that life with you is harder and more complicated. And he'd just rather not. So he's avoiding you on purpose, making himself busy because he can't really tell you that he doesn't want you. I mean, you're a nice person, but, he's kind of stuck in this marriage. So many lies showed up. I bought into them. I didn't know how to emotionally regulate yet. So I started to spin. And I was mad. And I felt alone. And I felt rejected. And my marriage was going to crap. And this is how it starts. I've already had a marriage go to crap. I've already been divorced. It's starting again. Panic ensued. Pissosity. I can't believe he's doing this to me just like the ex. All the spin. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you know there are levels of spin. I went from a 0 anticipating chick flicks and connection into a good solid 4. My brain was no longer thinking. I was just reaction, and I had all the stories built up in my head. Well, he didn't come in, which is probably a good idea because I had all sorts of stories about who he was. Instead, I got up, I went to the kitchen. I think I even watched a chick flick all by myself so I could be really mad at him that he wasn't joining me. And I went, and there was this window out by the dining room that looked down onto the property. And I sat there and I glared at him so that somehow I could send out all the vibrations to know that he was in trouble. And he needed to come, just like in the chick flick movies, and chase after me. He wasn't chasing. He wasn't doing it right, guys. He wasn't even doing it right. When I looked out, that man was sweating. And he had a lot of boards. And he was sawing and cutting and nailing. And I realized, oh my word. He's building me a chicken coop because 2 weeks ago on the phone, as we talked tonight, I said I wanted chickens. That man had been loving all over me all day long, taking care of something that I wanted, using his skills and his talents, what he could do for me. right? And was using those to love all over me. I didn't even go out to say, hey, babe, what's going on today? Like, what are you up to? I needed connection, but I want a connection to show up how I wanted it to show up. I'm going to bid for attention, and you need to show up in the way that attention is expected, because otherwise you are not a good listener. And if you're not a good listener, that means you don't love me. So much conditioning. I never went out and said, wow, what are you doing? I didn't go, man, I admire you. I mean, I can't even imagine, like in my own head, putting all this stuff together and cutting the boards, right? I would have screwed that all up. This is a beautiful design. Like, none of that. He didn't receive any of that. So I think the point that I'm making is twofold. Number one, receiving is right, it's good, and it's first. Otherwise, you are giving from depletion, and when you give from depletion, resentment, bitterness, and stories are what come up. They generate more anger, bitterness, resentment, stories, isolation, abandonment, failure, rejection. Receiving is vital. So, to learn how to receive, after I'd worked with this coach, and I realized, he said, you've written the book on giving, Ann. You give and you give and you give. You've written the book on it. But you do not know how to receive. You don't even know what it feels like to receive. Do a check-in right now, okay? If somebody were to give you a compliment, other than bag, shoes, clothes, whatever, hair, but say, you know what? You are one of the most gracious people I've ever met. Or you are so intelligent, or you are so kind. If I were to say that to you right now, what is your response? Is it, oh, no, or, oh, they just don't understand. They don't actually know me. Like, if they knew me, they wouldn't be saying that. If that is the case, and that is your natural reaction, your receiver is broken. It's totally broken. So somebody is coming. A friend of mine is coming all the way down to where I'm at today to spend some time with me. And she said, man, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, and I just need some Ann time. Now I could go, well, I don't know why. I could bat it away. Or I could go, that's what she gets from me, is peace and relaxation. I'm good at peace and relaxation. That's what she just told me. I'm going to receive that. Yep, I am. I'm receiving the fact that that is true when people come into my space. That is true. So, ready? This one's hard. Next time someone gives you a compliment, stop, take a breath to suspend your need to shoot a giving statement or a rejecting statement back out. Breathe in what they see in you. Breathe it in. And in your mind, you can say out loud, thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, ready? Somebody gives you a compliment. All you have to remember is say, thank you, I appreciate you telling me that. Okay, let's do it again. Somebody gives you a compliment. The first step is receiving, is to say, thank you. I appreciate you telling me that. And then you go, thank you, in your own mind. That is true. Oh my gosh. If you can start saying that is true, when somebody does something or gives something to you, or especially a compliment, you're changing it. So another thing that I did was I prayed. I said, Father in heaven, I am now aware that I know what it feels like in my body when I am giving. And I feel it, and I have a desire to reach out, and I love the idea of putting things together and then giving it to someone. That is really good. this receiving makes me super uncomfortable. And at this point, I didn't know why. I didn't know I hadn't earned it yet, right? That was what was going on. I didn't know why. I had received love and support and attention when I bid for it from my parents and from ex-husbands and from people in general, because we all don't know how to receive. So I said, teach me. I don't know what it feels like. The first step is to say, God, teach me what it feels like to receive. What does it feel like? And then I actually sat. I would give myself 15 minutes and I sat with my hands open. Ooh, those of you who know, this position in the hand is receiving as well as serving. It's a position of giving and receiving. It's kind of cool. Anyway, I sit with my hands open and envision energy, love, support coming towards me, coming down, being drawn to me. And as I would take a breath, I would force myself to feel what it feels like to take in attention, take in the good stuff, take in love. And then we're going to go back to my friend and mentee who talked to me yesterday. And she actually gave appreciation, admiration, and respect to herself. And when she did that, she said, it was so much easier to give that to others when I received the truth of those things for myself. So, third step to becoming a good receiver is to look into yourself and say, what do I really love about myself? And take a deep breath and breathe it in. And then when somebody else wants to give something to you, you say, thank you so much for your attention to that. Thank you is not gratitude. That's a whole nother series. But realize that they're loving you and they're expressing their love and to receive it. Just like this man who brought his woman flowers. He just wanted her happiness. I want you to know that I love you. Will you receive my gesture of love? He was bidding for attention, not with crisis, not with blaming, not with pissosity, not with drama. He was bidding for attention with a gesture. Now, can you imagine? Oh my gosh, thank you so much. These smell so good. Every time I walk into this kitchen, I'm going to see those flowers you gave me. It's going to lift my soul. Thank you, sweetheart. In other words, I receive the love that you're offering today. I receive. Oh, thanks, babe, for a chicken coop. You've even designed it so it's easy for me to get eggs. Thank you for loving me. Hey, by the way, later on, you want to watch some chick flicks with me? That would have got a lot better, right? Than me just being mad. John Gottman is a marriage therapist. He talked about how bidding for attention and whether or not people answered that attention is what showed whether or not relationships were going to make it or not. Set up boundaries. I do not answer bids for attention that is blame. I kind of got blamed the other day, and I didn't receive. I don't receive that. That's that person's responsibility to respond to their emotions, and it wasn't my responsibility. I did respond with love. I see your stress. I see your frustration. And I know you're going to make it through. I did not block the fact that there was a thing, but I'm not going to receive blame or responsibility for something that is not mine to prove my love. Nope. Have appropriate boundaries. When somebody goes, ugh, and you're already depleted and you know you've got to step in and support somebody emotionally, I want you to remember one thing. You are not responsible for their emotional state. All you have to do is, wow, what was that sigh about? Then they can tell you. And you can say, I don't know what to say. I'm just really glad you let me in. Because they were bidding for your attention to hear them that there's a thing. Don't take it on. It's not yours. It's still theirs, but you can give attention. I hope you have a very good day. Bid for your own attention. Receive from yourself. I will see you later.